I'll tell you.
Okay, sir. Send me message. Mr. Nanda Mohan Shenoy, founder and CMD, Best Fit Business Solutions Private Limited, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to you all at Bombay Chamber of Commerce and Industries webinar on cyber hygiene and BFSI sector, do's and don'ts for the corporates and individuals. At the outset, I would like to thank our esteemed speaker, Mr. Shenoy, for taking time from his busy schedule and join us today. The importance of this topic in today's context is hardly debatable. But I would like to mention a few words about our honorable speaker, though I know many of us are fully aware of that. Mr. Shenoy is a seasoned banking and information security professional with more than 30 years of experience in the entire banking and financial services and insurance segment, with deep understanding of business operations, industry, and information security. We all are eagerly waiting to hear you, sir. Over to you, Mr. Shenoy.
Thank you, Sugita. So we will start, or we'll wait for a few more seconds because we have got only 50% of the people. Am I audible first? Am I audible? You can put in the chat window. Okay. Okay, fine. So we'll just, okay, good. Okay, so we'll just wait for a couple of seconds and then start. We're expecting a couple of, around 20 registrations are there, around 12 only are logged in so far. Okay, so I think we can start now. So today's agenda is going to be the following. We will have classified this session into 4 parts. If you see the brochure also, so we will talk about the overall cyber landscape, then the types of cyber attacks, phishing, email security. Then we will go to part B, where we'll talk about internet banking frauds and the customer liability. Then we have got part C, which is social media security, customer and bank perspective, or the BFSI perspective. And part D is Zoom security, customer perspective. And also we will have added one more thing, which is India government, the Indian government and cyber security, because we should also know what the government is doing as part of cyber security. So that is an additional subject which I have added in this. So we will start with one by one. So we will look at it. First of all, disclaimers. Whatever I am going to tell is my personal views. It is neither the views of BCCI or Best Fit Solutions. These are my personal views. So now let us start with a small poll to understand your wavelength and your background. So I'm launching the first poll to understand the participant profile. So there are two questions in this, is in which domain you are working and your job role. So this will help me to map your requirements on an ongoing as the program is going on. Hope all of you are able to see the poll. Anybody who is not comfortable with the poll can use the chat window. So the question is basically whether you are working with a bank, mutual fund, insurance, other financial services and non-financial services. The second is information security. Role is information/cyber security, IT, other functions. Okay, I'll try to. There is some haziness. I think it is because of some virtual this one. So anybody who's not comfortable with the poll, they can just give it in the chat window. Okay, fine. So I think still 3 more people yet left to vote. So we have got one person from the banking sector, one person from mutual fund. We have got non-financial services. Okay. We have got maximum people from non-financial services, and then 50% of the people are from cyber security. 54% means 7 of them are from cyber security domain. 31, 4 of them are from information technology, and 2 of them are from other functions. Okay, so with this background, so I have two things I have to bring. One is non-financial services, and second is 7 people are from the information security domain. So I have to do a balancing act. Let me see how I can do the balancing act. Okay, fine. So let us proceed with the first part, is overall cyber landscape. So now we are talking about a borderless universe or boundless points of exposure. So cyber is the new hype or fashion, whatever you may call it. Cyber and data privacy are the 2 hot topics that we hear day in and day out. I don't know whether it is overhyped or not, but yes, it is an issue of concern as long as you are aware of that thing. If you are an unaware user, then it is a bigger risk. All of you may be aware of the Cognizant attack, the latest attack. Then the changing phase of ransomware attacks. Of late, there is something called availability risk and one is called confidentiality risk. Typically, if you see 1 year back, in a ransomware risk was more of an availability risk where your system is blocked and then you pay the ransomware and then your data is released. Now with COVID coming into picture, the ransomware attack has moved to a different sort of thing where confidentiality is at risk. The hacker extracts all your data and what he says is that if you don't pay, I will publish this. So there is a paradigm shift in the way the ransomware attack motive was. Earlier the motive was to control the availability. Now the motive is breach of confidentiality. Now work from home because of COVID, saw a massive or an exponential increase in the attack surface post March. So it is called hacker's paradise. The basic thing which has happened with COVID is, if there were n endpoints, now it has gone to the raise of n to the power of n as an attack surface. So obviously when the attack surface increases, the probability of the attack also is going to increase. Now, so this is a recent report published by SonicWall. So you have to be very sensitive to this. They have given a beautiful report. If you are interested, you can just go to Google and read through this report on the various global cyber attack trends. So here you see, basically they have classified it into 6 categories. So one is ransomware attacks, one is malware attacks, one are intrusion attempts. Then they also classified what is called as IoT malware, then encrypted threats and web app attacks. So if you see the first 2, you may think that there is a drop of 9% in ransomware attacks and 6% in malware attacks. But if the same time, if you look at the absolute values, so an absolute value of 187.9 million, a 9% decrease, or on 9.9 billion, there is a 6% decrease, does not mean a lot of things. At the same time, if you look at 40.8 million, and then there is a hike of 52% in web app attacks, so you have a different perspective. So sometimes when you look at the numbers, you cannot look only at percentages. When you do an analysis, you have to do both percentages as well as absolute value. In terms of absolute value, ransomware attacks and malware attacks have overtaken all the other 4 types of attacks. So it's a cause of serious concern. Now, one of the biggest challenges is your reputation risk. So you might have seen about fake Android Zoom video meeting apps. You might have seen about COVID-19 scams related to COVID-19, etc. We will see more of it as we go along. Now let us look at the most common types of cyber attacks, which is phishing and social engineering. Then we know DOS and botnets. Then we have got zero-day attacks or advanced malware. We have got what is called as traditional viruses and malware, compromised devices, malicious insider, application level attacks, and web-based attacks. So we'll look at some of the few latest attacks. So now, can anybody identify what this is? You can just share your thoughts in the chat window. What are you seeing in front of you? Okay, Trojan horse, e-waste. Okay, good. Good. Horse with latest technology. Okay. Okay, this is what is called as Trojan horse, as somebody had mentioned it. And this is at the entrance of Tel Aviv University in Israel. Okay, this is part of your Tel Aviv University in Israel. And the very interesting part is, as all of us know, Israel is the cyber security capital, or the leaders, world leaders in cyber security is Israel. This is a Trojan horse which is made out of computers which were affected by Trojans. That is very, very interesting. And this is at the entrance of Tel Aviv University. So basically, if you look at banking malwares, we can classify it into the maximum is Trojan. And there are 3 to 4 types of Trojans, like Bad Rabbit was one type of Trojan. Then we have NotPetya is another type of Trojan. Petya is another type of Trojan, and Emotet. These are the 4 basic big Trojans we knew. Even the ransomware is a generic term used. Technical term is ransomware is also a type of Trojan. So this Trojans, Petya and NotPetya and Bad Rabbit were used as ransomware, which could block your computers. So it becomes a very complicated world when you are using the internet. Now let us move to the next one. This is very interesting, this one. So one category of cyber attacks is called Trojans. Under this you saw Petya, non-Petya, etc. Now we are looking at another interesting type of attack, which is called an advanced persistent threat. And in the hacking community, the code word for one such APT attack is called Taj Mahal. So what Taj Mahal APT attack does is it introduces some malwares into the entire system, and one day the objective of all APT is to steal the data. And once an APT malware is introduced into your system, say today, the data stealing does not happen on T+1. That is the day of introducing it. An APT attack takes around 18 to 24 months to have the final attack done. It goes on creeping into the system, and one fine morning your data is out. So it is a very important thing that cyber attacks does not give the result immediately. So this is one type of attack which is called APT. There is also another new type of attack which is called as cryptojacking. What is cryptojacking? So cryptojacking is another type of very interesting attack where it does not take out any data, it does not block your computer, but it uses the resources, your CPU, RAM, memory, etc. is used for the purpose of crypto mining. And now the height of this entire episode was that our IT minister's website, the mighty website itself, was used by the hackers to mine the currency and use the resources of the government. So official website of Union Minister itself was found to be mining Monero cryptocurrency with the coin hive. So one side you have got even your resources are being utilized without stealing your data, without blocking your data. That is very interesting. Now, so here also I've given a 2-3 symbols here. One is the institution symbol and one is the C symbol. So C means from a customer perspective, and the institution means from a BSFI organization perspective. So all my slides you will see wherever it is mentioned. So if you are a part of cyber security or information technology where you want to implement certain things, this logo of the institution is important. If looking at as an individual, this logo is important. Now what I am going to talk about is an individual or a customer perspective. How many of you have heard this word called juice jacking? How many of you in this group have heard the word called juice jacking? So those who have raised the hands, I will just unmute. If it is related directly to this question, I will answer it. 1 minute. Yes, Pravi sir, you want to talk? Pravi sir, you want to talk? Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Pravi.
Can I?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Tell me, sir.
This is a technique to use the charging facilities
Correct. Mm.
to hack the data.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Providing
fine.
a charging facility, and
Correct.
through that data can be hacked.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this is very important
Hello.
for us who are travelers. Who are,
Hello.
hello. Okay, so lot of travelers, beware. As an individual, we all have the habit, and now all of us know our smartphones does not have too much of charge. So we go to a restaurant or we go to an airport, we keep charging. So in juice jacking, what happens typically is that you see that picture which I have given there. Behind the charging point, there will be a small cord or a small chip which will extract the data from your mobile phone. So that is what is meant by juice jacking. That is why I have given you the traditional thing which was non-mechanized to take out the juice, and the traditional liver-based juice extractor. So all of us have to be aware of what is called as juice jacking. We should not go and even charge our mobile points from any common place. We need to be very, very careful. Either you plug it to your laptop or carry your own charger. So be aware of this juice jacking, which is a new technique which has come so far. Now, the popular types of cyber attacks. So this most of you would be aware of. So I will not spend much time on this because you will be reading in and out. Nevertheless, I will give you a high level overview. So popular cyber attacks are phishing, wishing, smishing, farming, website defacement, cyber bullying, and cyber stalking. So this first 5 we will look at bit in depth. The two, bullying and cyber stalking, I will talk here and then stop. So most of us have got children or grandchildren at home. There is a huge problem. 1 minute, somebody is not on mute. Just a second. Can you all of you mute yourself? I'm getting some disturbance. Okay, now, so in the earlier days, we used to have what is called as bullying in the schools and colleges. Now this bullying is moved over to the cyber. So if you are giving unrestricted use to your children, there is every possibility that your child is being bullied over the social media, etc. So you need to watch and put necessary parental controls and monitoring of children's usage of internet, because they are the easy victims of cyber bullying. Then there is something called cyber stalking. All of us know what is stalking, what is happening. Same way, people are also stalked on the internet through the social media. So these are two big menaces which we need to remember, because that also affects an individual's mental health. So cyber has also impacted your mental health. So as I say, now in this COVID, there is recession, there is a lot of people losing the jobs, etc. One job which has got a lot of prominence now with excess use of social media, etc., is what is called as cyber psychology. So cyber psychologists are increasing. There is a huge gap of cyber psychologists in this world now. So if any of your children are planning to do doctors or go into that medicine field, cyber psychology is a very good field because of the proliferation of multiple devices and people's addiction to the social media and net. So these two are related to cyber bullying and cyber stalking. Now, what is phishing? Phishing is a criminal activity that attempts fraudulently to obtain sensitive information. It can be either through an email or it can be through a website. So you have got whaling, spear phishing, mass market, and BEC. BEC is business electronic communication. We will see one examples of each of this. Now, phishing is a very interesting one. So here I give a very interesting case of phishing. I would have shared it with most of them in our sessions. Is about the story of that child in your there are two brothers. I will just explain this about the Gorakhpur incident first, then I will explain the other three. So the Gorakhpur incident is a very interesting incident. There were two brothers. So the elder brother was applying for a job in Middle East. And when that person applied for a job in Middle East, there are third-party agents. So this third-party agent promised a job to the elder brother in Middle East, and he got some 35 to 40,000 rupees. Once this 40,000 rupees was accepted, this fellow ran away and did not give him the job. So the elder brother comes and tells his younger brother, who is studying only in class 10, mind you, he's studying in class 10, he goes and tells his younger brother, see, XYZ has cheated me of so and so much money. So this boy in Gorakhpur is a very tech savvy guy. What he does, he goes and creates an account in the name of DGP Gorakhpur and sends Twitter messages to all the police stations with giving details of this XYZ so place, saying in so and so place, etc., etc. And then this person is caught based on that such simple Twitter message. See the power of social media. Somebody creates an account in the name of DGP, and all the policemen, because the message has come from the DGP, they have to fulfill that. So they run helter-skelter and finally get it. So this is one example of phishing on the electronic, this one. I can also talk about the other two pictures which I am showing you is about human phishing. See the paradigm shift in the attitude and thinking of human beings. In olden days, we used to tell chor se savdhan. Now what is happening is nakli police se savdhan. So this picture which I am showing you is not from any Google. This is a picture which was taken by my son from the Bandra railway station, where he has taken this picture, and see how people do phishing, human phishing. Similarly, you see the other picture here. Two people were conning people as CBI and taking hafta regularly in Bombay. So phishing is a big menace both in the electronic world and the physical world. We do not know whom to trust. That is why in cyber security we have got what is called as zero trust. Now, another type of phishing people should be aware of. Phishing is a very generic word. Within phishing, we have got two types of phishing, which is called whaling and spear phishing. So we should also understand what is the difference between phishing, spear phishing, and whaling. So I give an example of phishing is I am a hacker. I want to send mails and try to get some credentials. I will send it to all the bank customers. I am not filtering it out whether it is an Axis Bank customer or an ICICI Bank customer or an Bank of Baroda customer. So my father receives a mail stating that you are having an Axis Bank account. Please change your password, blah, 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 blah. Then my father calls me up and tells, I never had an account in Axis Bank. What happened? How did I get it? So this is an example of a general phishing mail. Now, spear phishing is one step above that. I do a focused mail specific to a bank's customers. It is called spear phishing. One more level above spear phishing is what is called as whaling attack, where you try to get the credentials of a CEO or a CXO or a CRO. So that is phishing, spear phishing, and whaling. These are the three types within phishing. Now, this is a typical example. Again, whatever examples I am showing you, most of them are from my own. This one, it is not external. This I received from an income tax department. This is an example of a simple phishing mail which has been sent to everybody. Then what we talk about, business email communication scams are also on the rise. So what happens in a business email communication fraud is you get a mail. So I'm showing you a mail here which was received by one of my customers. So this customer, the CEO is writing a mail to the CFO, and this is exact copy paste of that mail of one of my customer, where it tells how soon can you process a wire transfer through RTGS. I could not call because I'm in a meeting, blah, blah. Please transfer 4,80,300. And will you be able to reply? And see, the beauty is that the hacker also knows that the CEO is using an iPhone. That much of detailing is there. So when the CFO gets this, to please his boss, he goes and does a transaction. So this is an example of a whaling mail. Fortunately, the transfer has not happened because 3 days back only I did the cybersecurity awareness to this group company. Now, this is another example of an email fraud. This is very nicely structured, and in this case 2 days 2 frauds came to my notice. Earlier days I showed, the very next day this happens, where I am glad to hear this is about a person who was an Indian who has gone abroad, is what the email is claiming. Now this is very interesting. What happened in this case was somebody logged into the Yahoo or the email of this person. He got the user ID password, and what this hacker did was he sent this mail to all the contact list of that person. In that contact list, the person who got hacked, his daughter name was also there. So his daughter immediately called up and told, "Father, this sort of mail has gone to so many people. So be careful, tell all your friends that nothing is to be done on this." Unfortunately, one of his friends transferred 1 lakh of rupees and lost the money. So here also he beautifully is telling, I am outside India, and all of us know in outside India OTP does not come. So please help me out. So the hackers have got so much of detailing as far as what is happening. The next one is wishing. Wishing is nothing but using the telephone. Then we have got what is called as smishing, that is through SMS. Now this is another case. I don't know how many of you heard this case. This is another case of wishing plus phishing. Again, this is a Bombay based company called Technimont. What happened in this company was, Technimont is an Italian based company. They have an office in India. What happened was they were trying to acquire some company in China, is what they were telling. So, and any acquisition has to be very closed door, people should not know, etc. And there were n number of telephone calls which was supposedly done by the CEO of this company sitting in Milan, instructing Indian counterpart, telling that there are certain restrictions of remitting money from France to China directly for this acquisition. Therefore, please transfer X or Y 130 crores of rupees from your Indian account to that Chinese account. And that was not through one mail, multiple times of wishing, telephone calls, etc. was done, and finally the money was transferred. And it was not a small amount, it was 130 crores. Has anybody heard about this hist so far in this group? So any CFO, CTO, CXOs, I tell, whatever it is, please be careful that even if Brahma comes and tells you, please remit money, don't do it. You have to do a check and balance before acting upon anything. Okay, now the second type of phishing is related with the website. Can anybody identify the error with this website? Can anybody identify the error with this website? Yes. Okay, the website name is fake. Yes, correct. So you have to be very, very careful with such type of issues also. Okay, now you should be also very, very careful with such type of issues also, because if you see the number of phishing websites which are created is more than 1.4 million. So now how do I take care of this? So there are a lot of service providers who scan the internet and then come to you and tell you. So one such service provider is Aizu, and there is something called RSA, then there is something called Fish Labs. So you have to subscribe to these services. These service providers will scan the entire internet and inform you or the domain hoster and ask them to bring down this site. And this is also equally important, that people should not get carried away with these types of phishing websites. Now, COVID and spam mails, if you look at it, see the amount of increase. There is almost a 500% increase in COVID related spam mails in March alone. and all of them come with what is called as a different type of payloads, which is called COVID-19 ransomware, Emotet, TrickBot, etc. Once you get this, then this is going to happen. And because of COVID, the most important sectors which have been hit are healthcare, banking and financial, insurance, loans, etc. False sanitizers, everything, PPEs, blood, QR, everything is falsified. You go and buy that from the website, even your PPE which you receive is false. So the question comes, whom do I believe? Now, what is the root cause of all this? If you look at all this, what is the root cause? Can anybody tell me what is the root cause? I'm not able to see the chat window. Yes, you can give me in the chat window. Can you put it on the chat window what it is? Instead of unmuting you, please use the chat window. So I've given you the reason also. Greed, okay. People are afraid of COVID. Fear factor is used by the attackers. Greed, haste, okay, good. Fine. So I have to use what is called as the age-old wisdom. There is a Subhashitam in Sanskrit which tells Kanchana Moolam Dukkham, Kamini Moolam Dukkham, and Bhayam Moolam Dukkham. So greed and all is all linked to gold. So there is a Subhashita which tells Kanchana Moolam. Kanchana means gold. So you see what is called as Machanas gold. Then you have got Kamini Moolam Dukkham and Bhayam Moolam Dukkham. So in Mahabharata there is a saying that Vishwasat Bhayam Utpannam. All the things happen is only because of fear, which is out of Vishwasam. So because of this fear factor, people just exploit it. COVID was one such fear factor which people were exploited it left, right and center. So we need to be very, very careful. We should not get carried away with all this. Okay. Now IZU and RSA do not have an Indian origin, sir. I think both of them are US. Okay, now let us do the next poll. So I got poll number 2 for you people. Okay, some more. I got around 5 more people to vote. Okay, so let us proceed. Because more than 50% have not heard and only 4 people have implemented. So one of the important aspects of controlling your domain and spoofing of email is what is called as DMARC. Okay, so domain-based message authentication reporting and conformance. So if you are an organization, you are sending outgoing mails, and if you are sending outgoing mails from XYZ company, so xyzco.com, lot of mails are going outside in the name of xyz.com. So if you implement DMARC, the number of such mails will get reduced. This is not a technical session. This is only to create awareness of what DMARC is, and I will also give you a demo from an outsider perspective to identify whether DMARC is there for a domain or not. So for DMARC to be implemented, you need to have what is called as SPF and DKIM. So SPF stands for Sender Policy Framework, DKIM stands for Domain Keys. So SPF and DKIM is a prerequisite to implement DMARC. By this, the number of outgoing spam mails are reduced to a great extent. RBI has asked banks to implement DMARC long back. Now I will take you through a small tool to identify whether a website has DMARC or not. So I'll just stop sharing this screen and I will do a new screen share. So now, are you able to see the new screen? Are you able to see the screen? Okay, fine. Okay, so this is a website called MX Toolbox. So if I have to see whether SEBI is having sebi.gov.in, whether DMARC is implemented. See here, you can see DMARC record. Wherever you see a green tick, means all these are implemented. So DMARC record is published, DMARC syntax check, DMARC external, DMARC policy not enabled. I was just looking at a Nippon India MF just before this session. See here, DMARC record is not published. So as an auditor, when I go and audit an organization, I just go and check from this website whether that company has got DMARC enabled or not. By enabling a DMARC, the number of outgoing spoofing mails can be reduced to a great extent. Now I will show you how to read an header. Okay, I'll just share another screen for you. Okay, this is a mail which has come to me from HDFC Mutual Fund. So if you are using Outlook, I go to File, I go to Properties. In this Properties, if you can see this, at the bottom I will show you where I'm just, see here, received SPF pass, DKIM pass, SPF pass, DMARC success. Hope all of you are able to see this screen. Are you able to see the screen? Okay, fine. So every message header which you receive will have an header to identify whether it is DKIM is there, SPF is there, and DMARC is there or not. So this is one precaution to ensure that 99% or 98% your email ID is not spoofed and no mail is outgoing with your email ID like the one which my father received, a mail from Axis Bank. So if you take care of DMARC, this problem is solved. Now I'll go back to the PPT. So this is solved to a great extent. So this I am not going to, I just put it there. So now, next question, seeing is not believing. I am showing you 3 mails which I received in my inbox. One from Axis Bank, 2 from rbi.org.in. So as I always say, when you look at something like Vedanta, you should not believe what you are seeing. So the moment I get this mail, suspended IFSC code for NEFT by RBI, I get an important mail. Then I get a mail telling your CKYCR number usage for necessary action. So by looking at the mail straight away, I see it has come from Axis Bank, the other 2 has come from RBI. But if I go inside the mail, see this, it has come from BJ Ramesh at rnmi.org.in. So mail has got 2 facilities. The first one is reading, what is called as the alias, and the second one within that bracket or this one is called the original mail ID. So even if DMARC is there, people cannot prevent using the alias. So alias name is rbi.org.in, but actually it has come from rnmi.org.in. If you go and check the properties in the same manner, there will be no DKIM for this. There will be no DMARC for this. I will just show you that as well. Just a second. I've kept that ready. See this. This is for HDFC. 1 minute. So again, if I go to the same properties, see DKIM neutral, SPF is none, DMARC is null. So definitely this has not come from a valid domain at all. So domain of maccessbank.com does not designate permitted sender host. So like this, basic things we need to know is about how to read a mail and not to trust the mail. So you have to check the IP address, etc. Now see this mail, how the hackers have also gone to this detailing. I went deeper into this. This has come from somewhere from USA. Now thanks to Google Translator, the hacker has gone to the extent of sending a mail in Kannada language. So absolutely at the first look, we will not even know, oh, this looks to be very original, and you will go on, click on the link. And if you click on the link, you are gone. So as I say, emails are very, very vulnerable. You need to understand and implement certain controls. Now let us go to the next pole of implementing further controls. Okay, most of you would have been using O365. This question is regarding O365. So you have to give your votes on that. It can be multiple answers. It is multiple choice. I'll answer your question, Chris Capital. Okay, can I expect some more answers? Only 11 of them have voted out of the 18. Okay, I think I will proceed. Okay, I'll share the results for the benefit of everybody. Okay, so in O365, attacks can be only 15% of the people have given the answer right. It can be done both at your domain level as well as individual level. So I'm showing you a screen here where you see within O365, we have these controls. You can either do to protect, so your CEO at, if your CEO is having a mail ID at ceo@xyz.com, you can do that, or you want HR department at. So you in O365, you can protect a specific email and as well as the domain. Again, for that also it depends upon the amount of the type of model of O365. You've got various versions like kiosk, business, E3, etc. So this facility is available in certain business models of O365 only. This comes under a category called ATP, Advanced Threat Protection. So in some cases, you can protect up to 20 email IDs. In some models, you can protect up to 60 user IDs. So you will give all the C rank people's mail ID, as well as you can also protect the domain as well. So on the left hand side, you can see users to protect, add domain to protect. So both you can do. So there was some question by somebody whether we can do it at Exchange server level also. The answer is yes. In Microsoft Exchange, if you are using it, the same type of configuration can be done is what I am given to understand. Okay. What is the advantage? Because the third parties will not, domain means any mails going out in the name of xyz.com can be prevented. In the other cases, you are only giving. So from a prevention perspective, I will first do domain, and second level I will do as individual. Both levels I will put it, because if one misses, the second layer will take care, Jimit. Okay. Now, similarly, there is another beautiful option which is there in O365, which many people are not aware of. Again, it depends on the business model you take. There is something called a spear phishing attack. So you can also test your own employees' awareness levels. So suppose you have got 1,000 people in your organization and you have given enough training for these people on stop phishing, don't click on external mails, etc., etc. Okay, now I'll come to G Suite in the end. Okay, now, so lot of things are mentioned, but still it is human psychology to just go and click on the link, specifically if you get a mail from the HR department. So if you are using O365, you can try this trick on your people, where you just go and click on that and tell there is a midterm performance appraisal because COVID has come to an end. So we know the miseries you are looking into. So please click on this link which is given. So this is something called an attack simulator. So you send it to 2,000 people. At the end, you get a result. Out of this 2,000, 1,000 people have clicked on the link. 25% of the people were sleeping. They did not do anything. Remaining 25 reported it to the Information Security Help Desk. From there, you know an awareness indicator. I have worked with organizations where this attack simulator results have even gone up to the board. It is placed in front of the board as well, telling this is the attack simulation we did and this is the feedback. This shows the effectiveness of your training. This is also available in your O365 to see whether people are responding to phishing mails. It's a very good facility. I don't know how many of you are aware of this attack simulator. So now if I have to conclude, okay, good. So if I have to conclude on email, as I always say, there is only one principle. How many of you, I don't know how many of you heard about this. Soch kar, samajh kar, invest kar is from the National Stock Exchange. So for as far as we are concerned from an information security principle, I have changed that logo to Soch kar, samajh kar, click kar. Virtual distancing is as equally important as social distancing to take care of your cyber attacks. Okay, now, good Satish. Okay, G Suite also should have certain functionality. I am not sure, I have not studied G Suite. Maybe I have to study it and then get back to you. Okay, so we finished part A of this one. Now we go to part B. So here we will be talking about internet banking frauds. Okay, I'm not going to talk much about the frauds. I only want to highlight your role and what you can do. So now this is some of the statistics. If you see, Indians lost 228 crores in 52,000 cases between March to December itself. There has been so much of internet-based frauds. Yes, if you are using Exchange, whatever facility is there on O365, the same thing is there on Exchange also, but I do not know which version onwards and what model. I think it is from 2008 Exchange onwards, it should be available. Okay, definitely it is there, but which model I am not be able to tell you. It is there on Exchange, that much I can confirm. Okay, good. Now data on frauds, if you see, it has gone to 5,000, 12,000, around 22,000 for the 3 months. The frauds are on the increase. Okay, there are a lot of guidelines regarding ATM frauds, etc., where the government is trying to implement. The RBI has given all banks to stop using magnetic stripe cards. They have to move into smart card based ATMs. Now there are a lot of confusion on this. Still now magnetic stripe cards are still being used. Magnetic stripe ATMs are still there in many locations. So we have to be very careful in this. Here I am not going to tell how frauds are going to happen. All of us know what is happening. What you need to know is how do I protect myself from all these frauds. Okay, so one of the important things as far as credit card is concerned, I don't know how many of you have spent time. So there is something called power shift to security. Now security or information security is not the organization's responsibility. It is also a shared responsibility. Your account is under your control, not under the organization control. So I'm showing you what is here. This is from my Citibank credit card account, where if I am going outside the country from a specific date to a specific date, also I select the countries, automatically only in this country my card is going to be get used to. So RBI has given strict instructions to banks telling that the cards can be by default should be disabled for use outside the country. But still lot of banks have blatantly ignored this RBI guidelines, and you look at the Cosmos Bank's problem, it was card used outside because they did not block international usage by default. RBI tells you have to block international cards by default. So this is one such screen where you can decide your international travel date wise and then country wise. Then the next one, you tell mera ye ho gaya, mera ho gaya. The power and control is with you. You can define your ATM limit. You can define your physical point of sale limit. You can decide your online purchases limit. Everything is with you only, what you want to do. Similarly here, you want to lock a transaction, temporarily unlock, lock. So this is again temporarily lock all transactions. So you are telling you are going out somewhere, you don't want anybody to do any transaction, you can lock it. You can lock only domestic transactions. You can unlock only international transactions. All this power is with you as a customer. So now you are in charge of your security. Despite all this, what happens if you have not used it? What happens? Just a second. So this is an advert.
चलता है कल उसके बैंक अकाउंट में 15,000 रुपए का फ्रॉड हुआ है।
इसको तो कोई टेंशन ही नहीं होती है, देखना।
टेंशन क्यों? मेरी कोई गलती नहीं थी। मैंने तुरंत बैंक को इन्फॉर्म कर दिया। आरबीआई कहता है अगर आपके अकाउंट से किसी ने धोखे से पैसे निकाले हैं तो बैंक को जल्द से जल्द इन्फॉर्म कीजिए। 3 दिन के अंदर इन्फॉर्म किया तो कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा। जितना लेट करोगे उतना ज्यादा नुकसान। और सुन, सब चलता नहीं है, प्रॉपर चलाना पड़ता है। अब चलें। अपने बैंक अकाउंट का पिन, पासवर्ड और ओटीपी किसी के साथ शेयर मत कीजिए। आरबीआई कहता है जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Okay, most of you would have heard about this. So this advertisement has come out of this circular, so which you should be aware of. Very clearly, the RBI has come out liability of customers in case of unauthorized electronic banking transactions. Yes, so SBI is providing, all banks are now providing good. SBI is providing, I think ICICI, Axis Bank, most of the banks will be giving this now because that is important. But how many of you are aware that these things could be done is a more important thing. Okay, one is provision, one is usage. That is also equally important. Okay, now, yes sir, that is what the awareness is a very, very important criteria. So a lot of people are not aware of it. Please go and check and put the power shift is with you. Okay, Now coming back to the most important aspect here is, yes, daily and monthly limits also good, but please go and start using it. Now, most important is RBI has come out with this circular where what is the liability? Despite all these controls, still people are losing money, whether the customer should pay it or the bank should pay it. So this is a very simple table I will explain to you. So if there is a fraudulent transaction in your account, again, if you see conditions apply, if you have given your OTP to your wife or to somebody else, or you have written down the password behind the ATM debit card or the credit card, this will not be treated. So condition, based on the condition, you have to understand whether it was a negligence of the customer or it was a error or omission at the bank's end. So if there is an fraudulent transaction in your account, if you report it within 3 working days, the customer's liability is 0. If you report it within 4 to 7 working days, depending upon the type of account, the customer's maximum liability is given in table 1. It can be either 5,000, it can be 10,000, or it can be 25,000. If it is beyond 7 working days, the customer is reporting, it is left up to the bank to decide what sort of compensation or liability they want to fix. That is left up to the individual banks. So at least we should be aware of this. So if there is a fraud and all, we read in a lot of papers, X losses 7 lakh, 3 lakh rupees, Kandivali, customer lost. All that can be recovered, provided there is no negligence in the customer's part. So this is what you need to know. Tomorrow, if there is a fraud, if you are not responsible, you have taken all due care, your liability depends upon the time horizon. So this is a very, very important aspect which everybody needs to know. Now we come to the next part, which is the social media security, which is most important because people are using social media left, right, and center. So now what are the challenges with social media? There are 4 specific challenges in social media which we are using. One is the fake news, one is identity theft, one is reputation risk, and one is the privacy risk. Now let us look at how do we take care of all these 4. Now, if you see the world over the news, it is not the virus which has killed, it is the fake news which has killed more people. Look at this, what happened in Iran. Somebody told in Iran that if you drink methanol, you will be cured from COVID. And people went on drinking methanol. And more than 480, one paper reports 480, one paper reports 600 people killed only because of consuming something which has no relation to your COVID at all. So the biggest killer in the modern days is fake news, which is creating havoc. Very interesting. I don't know anybody is aware of this news in Iran, what happened. Was anybody aware of this news in Iran? It has killed more people than the COVID. Okay, good. At least one person. Okay, good. So see the havoc which is created by the social media by fake news. So I'll show you the Indian fake news. Now everybody takes anybody in the social media, you want Ratan Tata's photo, go get download one Ratan Tata's photo and write all rubbish. Telling Ratan Tata has told this, Ratan Tata has told that. Finally Ratan Tata has to come and tell that I have not written it. The same thing with Mark Twilley. Okay, they are told about so many things will happen to the economy. So there's a new word which is coined, which is called webkoof, like Bewkoof. A webkoof is a fellow who forwards any message even without applying his mind. So we as responsible netizens, again using the same NSE example, soch kar, samajh kar, forward kar is the message. Just don't go on forwarding whatever you get. So recently there was a news item, and this is the order given by the Mumbai Police Commissioner. I don't know how many of you have read this, telling that any dissemination of information through various messaging and social media are distorting, derogatory, they will be responsible, admins are responsible, etc. And this also can be fake news. So we went to Mumbai Police Commissioner's website and cross-checked. And so this message also was there. And yesterday there was another news item which tells 239 people have been already arrested under this circular because of spreading fake news. So most important as far as social media is concerned, don't just like that forward. And if you're an admin of a group, you had it. So many of the groups now have moved to what is called as admin only mode. Now, the simplest thing which we can do is two-factor authentication. You could have seen a lot of people hijacking LinkedIn, hijacking your, hacking your Facebook. People just take your Facebook account, post some nude photographs or derogatory photographs. Same thing happened in LinkedIn also 3 months back. And the easiest way to do is two-factor. So let us have a small poll on that, on two-factor. So I will launch the next poll. Okay, so those who are not getting the pool link, I will just read out the question 1, 2, 3, 4. Which statement is true regarding you? I do not have a social media account is the first option. Second is I have enabled two-factor on all my social media accounts. I have enabled two-factor on some of my accounts. I am aware of enabling the same but not enabled. And the last one is I do not know how to enable the same. These are the 5 options. So those who cannot do it on chat can give it on chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 5, 6. Okay. So, okay, I got most of the polls. So this is very interesting. Here 31. So 6 of them have told that we do not know how to enable the same. Okay, so there was a survey by McAfee last year, and in that 25% of the respondents have told they don't know how to enable privacy and how to enable two-factor. Okay, so that is very important. So it is not enough that Facebook is not safe, Twitter is not safe, LinkedIn is not safe. Everything depends upon how you configure it. So for example, somebody was asking, so if you go to LinkedIn, there is something called site preferences. What I'm showing you here is that specifically because 30 to 35% of the people don't know how to do a two-factor configuration. If you go to LinkedIn, go to account, site preferences, you can decide how you want your verification method, whether it is authentication app or phone number. You can do it in both methods. So two-factor is important. Another important aspect is no common password for financial accounts and non-financial accounts. This is another big hacker's joy, because if he is able to hack into one of the system and gets your password, he can use that to crack into your bank account also. The most other important risk is impersonation, is date of birth, mobile number and email ID. In most of the social media accounts, you will see this as public information. Again, coming back to your psychology of Facebook, if I don't mention my date of birth or my wedding anniversary, how will people wish me? So I have to feel good at the end of the day. Whether feeling good is important or security is important. For us, feeling good is more important than security. So people go on giving the date of birth so that people come to wish. At the end of the day, you feel sad. Nobody has wished me today on my birthday, and you go into a different loop. So privacy risk, if you give your date of birth, mobile number, email ID, you are giving too much of information to the hacker. He can try so many things. So please remember, as a part of privacy risk, you need to control all the three. Now, how do I do the same thing in two-factor authentication in Instagram as well as this one? Even in Facebook, if you go to settings, see here I am showing you two-factor authentication. In Instagram, if you go to privacy and security, there also you have got what is called as two-factor authentication. Similarly, you got in Twitter also there is something called two-factor authentication under settings, general two-factor authentication. There is one more big problem which I have seen as far as LinkedIn is concerned when I go to audit. LinkedIn also there is something called admin, designated admin separate, recruiter posters separate. Many organizations have now given LinkedIn to their HR agencies. And when they are giving it to the HR agencies, they are giving the administrator password itself, which is a big sin. There are so many organizations which are giving it to third-party marketing agencies for hosting their marketing. For that also they share admin. But LinkedIn has got these facilities called recruiter posters, sponsored content posters, and lead gen forms manager. So this is based on the hierarchy. This is given. See, please go back to your organization and tell them to use this type of privileges rather than giving admin rights to a third party. Now, this is very interesting. Another big reputation risk, which I have seen not only in one organization, at least 5 to 6 organizations which I have audited, I have seen this. People are left, right, and center creating the Facebook pages in the name of the company, and they are also using the logo. So see here, Manappuram Finance Limited, Porur, Manappuram Finance Limited, Manappuram Finance Limited, Manappuram Finance Limited, Manappuram Finance Limited, friends. So now there should be a strong social media policy. And in one case, I saw there was one organization had up to 60 different Facebook pages created. And in that, one of the pages, mein gali bhi tha. You are not paying salary on time, you are not doing this, you are not doing that, using the company's logo itself. What an irony, or what a sarcastic message it was. So all of you have to be very, very, very careful. Employees creating Facebook is more of a reputation risk. They can create this in other social media also. You should have a very strong this one. So how do I handle this side of reputation risk? Is deployment of tools, getting the sites verified. So here if you see PMO India is verified with a tick box. Tanmay Bhatt on YouTube is also a verified account. Amitabh Bachchan account on Facebook also is a verified account. Twitter has recently kept on hold, giving verified accounts. The DGP Gorakhpur case I said was that none of the policemen rather looked at the tick. They acted even without verifying whether that account belongs to this. And organizations should have strong HR policies as well as social media security policy and communications to branches and employees. So this is a very, very important aspect which many of us are forgetting. You should have what is called as a social media security policy, which is very important. Now, the next one is another way of reputation risk is what is called as bad mouthing. So there are a lot of people putting comments on Twitter, putting comments on YouTube, comments on Facebook. So in YouTube, there is a beautiful option where you can, if you go within the YouTube, you can control all your comments. So your comments can be controlled by allow comments, hold potentially inoperate, hold all comments for review, and disable comments. So there is a concept of moderation. So all social media accounts have to be moderated. Now, how do we moderate it? YouTube has got inbuilt functionality. In other case, you don't have that. You have to buy some tools. Same thing with Facebook also. You have got two types of pages. One is the page, one is the profile. There is something called privacy settings. In Twitter also, if you want to block certain words, people using as comment, unparliamentary words, which people are using on your Instagram or this way at Twitter, you can block these certain words. So by that, one is blocking, one is hiding the comments. And third is you can also use tools. There are a lot of tools available in the market which will help you to moderate. So moderating any social media account, moderation is very, very important. Now we'll go to the next subject, or the Zoom security. So Zoom is in the news for so many things. So I thought this also should be included as a Zoom as a perspective. So now people have got so much of time in this world to go to Supreme Court and put a PIL telling Zoom is bad, so please block it. Then there was an advisory by what is called a SciCourt, is telling for when you are using private individuals, what are the controls people have to use it. So now let us have a next poll. This is the last poll for the day. So hope all of you got that poll now. Okay, sorry, I have not configured. Okay, it is, I have not configured Zoom security. It has come, I have configured 2 times, copy paste devil, the 5th one. It should be, I have not configured. That's all. Okay, so 6 people are told they are using other tools. I think almost done. So I'll end the polling. I'll share the results. Okay, so maximum people are telling they are using other tools, maybe Microsoft Teams and others. I don't host all, but then I have not configured and I have configured good. Now I'll just give you a high level overview of that. So because most of them are not, one of the most important things is Zoom security features are not available for free users. So there is nothing called free lunch. And security always comes at a cost. So those people who are free users have no right to tell Zoom is not safe, etc. And a per license of Zoom costs you around $15 per month. That is the cost which you are paying for the security parameters. So free users, beggars are not choosers. There goes the proverb. So if you are using that, you are not going to get. So now what has happened, I'll just show you some of this one, good, license 1. In this license 1 also you have got what is called as a 2-factor authentication. On the right hand side you can see there also you have got 2FA. You can also define the types of passwords. There are a lot of security features which is available only with the paid version. Now, so Zoom also, if you tell me is it secure and insecure, again it depends upon how you configure it. There is something called recording. Telling that cloud recording you want, you can do local recording, you have got encryption, you have got keys, so many features are there. If you have not used the features by paying, then Zoom may be vulnerable. If you are a paid users using the right configuration, I will not tell, if you look at that way, any application has to mature about security over a period of time. Now we come to the last thing which I wanted to discuss today is what is India government's contribution. Maybe I'll take 5 more minutes and then I will open it for question answers. Okay, so you have got what is called Ministry of Information and Technology, which are the basic organization. Under ministry, you have got what is called the Information Technology Act, rules and regulations. Then there is one more organization which is called NCIIPC. National Critical Infrastructure Protection Center, which is formed as part of IT Act. There is another organization called CERTIN, which is under the IT Act. So NCIPC and CERTIN are formed under IT Act. NCIPC is controlled by DRDO, which is the defense. And under certain, they have got what is called as Cyber Swachhata. So Modi ji has got a lot of Swachhata to do. There is something called Cyber Swachhata Kendra. How many of you are aware of Cyber Swachhata Kendra? How many of these in this group are aware of what is called Cyber Swachhata Kendra? Just put it in chat. Okay, now. Anybody is aware, you can give me positive. Okay. Nobody is aware of Cyber Swachhata. Okay. Other than Piravi, nobody is aware. Okay. So there is something called Cyber Swachhata Kendra. Okay. Now Jimmy is aware because last time I told. So the government is doing so many things, but we are blissfully ignorant. So there is something called Cyber Swachhata Kendra. I will show in the next slide what Cyber Swachhata Kendra is doing. Then under ministry, you have got what is called as National E-Governance Division. And there is something called Cyber Surakshit Program. Okay, now, good. So, some of the activities of Cyber Swachhata Kendra, you can go and check there. I will only highlight certain things which is available. Cyber Swachhata Kendra has given you 5 free tools which you can use. One is called mKavach. Okay, that is for mobile. I have used it. I am using JGuard. Yes, same way. So there is something called CDAX browser JGuard to track your malicious URL. This is there even on the URL which I showed you now. I have been using JS Guard for quite some time. Then there is something called USB Pratirod, and there is something called App Security App Samvid. So these are some of the 5 tools which is developed by public-private partnership. App Samvid is by CDAC. The Quick Heal, that bot removal tool, is by Quick Heal. So these are some of the things which the government is doing. You can all download it and use it. So this is free tools for the purpose of Cyber Swachhata. Just like distributing free masks for COVID, people have given free tools for Cyber Swachhata. Please go and use it. It does not cost you anything. This is now, there is another ministry which is called Ministry of Home Affairs. After our Amit Shah ji has come, lot of action has been happening under cyber security under MHA. All these days it was happening only under MEITY. Now it is happening under what is called as Ministry of Home Affairs. There is something called National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal. I have got around 6 slides to be shown. If you people agree for extending the time by another 5 to 6 minutes, I can show that how to report a cyber crime sitting at your home. So if you can give me 5 minutes extra time, I can show you the 6 slides. Otherwise, I can skip that. Okay, fine. So now I will take you. So National Cyber Crime Reporting Portal is a beautiful one where you can report all these cyber crimes directly sitting at the convenience of your home. You need to create your own user ID password for this. So now I will take you through that process. So there is something called file a complaint. You come under that. Then once you do it, so there will be category and subcategory. So these are the 6 types of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 types of cyber crime. Means 8 and any other cyber crimes can be reported on this website. So within online and social media related crime, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You have got 10 subcategories of online and social media related crime. So you go put the category, you put the subcategory, you put the date and time. Why there is a delay in reporting, whether at 24 hours, if you don't report it in within 3 days, where did the incident occur? Please provide additional information. So if you take the second one, online financial fraud, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 subcategories. So like that for 3 or 4 of the main categories, you have got subcategories. So as far as online is concerned, these are the 6 subcategories. Then if you come to hacking damage to computer system, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 subcategories. Once you do that, exact date and time, reason for delay. Okay, I will share you that cybercrime.gov.in. Okay, I have not put that. It is cybercrime.go. That is there in the first one itself. 1 minute. Okay, I'll show you the earlier one where you saw. 1 minute. I'll show you that at the end back. Okay, this is the site cybercrime.gov.in. Under that you have got report other cybercrime. Okay, now once you do that, you can provide additional information about this. Then it goes to suspect details. If you know the suspect, this is not a mandatory field. If you know the suspect, you can also upload his photograph also. Then you go to complainant details. Who is complaining? Your date of birth, gender, relationship, email ID. Your national ID is important. You have to upload any of the national IDs. And then your nationality, all those things. Once you do all this, you will get a reference number. And then based on that, it will be taken up by the respective authority. So if it is Maharashtra, Kerala, all these things you have to tell where you are registered for. This is a very, very important initiative by the government to report cybercrime. Now, the second aspect of MHA, that is Ministry of Home Affairs, is they have formed there is something called a Cyber and Information Security Division. Within that, they have formed what is called as Indian Cyber Crime Coordination Center, or I4C. Their website is CyCord, or Cyber Coordination Center. So here also you have got what is called as reporting an incident. Here also a lot of activity is happening. So this also you should be all aware of. And then coming to banks and financial institutions, they are also to report all these incidents to RBI, CERT-In, NCIPC, police, etc. So these are the basic things as an individual and as an organization we need to remember. So to summarize this, again, the 5 P's: strong passwords, two-factor authentication, beware of phishing, digital discipline from people, latest patches, measured privileges, timely reporting on the cybercrime portal. And also I would urge all of you, whether bankers, non-bankers, as an individual, please go and subscribe to what is called as Rebit newsletter. It is a very good one. Okay, now, so Rebit newsletter will give you a summary of all that what is happening. And then finally, Soch kar, Samajh kar, forward kar. And finally, to end with Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world is the message. So security is your responsibility. Don't leave it everything to the organization. Now I have got 5 minutes. Sugita, how much time we have got?
5 minutes, sir.
Okay, 5 minutes. So if anybody wants to give any questions, there is something called Q&A panel. You can go to the Q&A panel, or I can even unmute you also. If you have written down the questions, well and good. Otherwise, I will unmute. Okay, one by one. So, Pravi, I will allow you to take one question. One question per head. Yes, Pravi, you can unmute and speak. Mr. Pravi, you want to speak?
I am audible?
Yes, tell me, Pravi.
Yes. See, regarding the link, nowadays fake links are there in SMS and email.
Yes.
So how to manage that? Many people are falling prey to that link.
Correct. So if it is an organization level,
Yes.
the message which I showed in one of the PowerPoint presentations, you have to tell that this is coming from an external source.
Yes.
Clear? Whether this is, are you sure about this link? Then only click on this link. If it is organization level. Individual level, only stop, think and click.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'll take Fernando. Fernando. You want to ask anything? Fernando. Okay, Chris Capital. Anybody wants to ask? Anybody else? Kalpana Singh. Okay, Kalpana.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Kalpana.
Actually, I just wanted to know about the Zoom. rumors are there that the Zoom is some news has to become from the government and the petition has been filed to the higher courts.
Uh,
And we have the licensed one. So how secure it is? Whether we have to move some other video conferencing app, or as you told that if the licensed one is there and we have implemented all the security measures, so it is no issue in using the Zoom.
as on date, Supreme Court has asked the center to
Yeah.
file their reply because they came out with an advisory. File a reply on your views on Zoom. That's all. Nothing else has moved beyond that.
Okay, so only the conclusion only.
Yes, nothing. The PIL is still pending. By that time, Zoom is secure. They have done a lot of patches. 30th May, they have released one more patch.
Yeah, it is more than 5 patches, 5 point something.
Yes. Now, if you tell me if Zoom is to be banned, I will go and file in PIL to ban. 90% of the application is not that secure. Piravi will agree with me. No application will be 100% secure. There is something called APT. There is something called zero-day threats. So many things are there.
Right.
Okay. So don't worry. Have a peaceful sleep.
I think eventually Zoom will be more secure than all these other applications. It's kind
Okay.
of,
Fernando. Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Fernando. People are just creating fear and panic for nothing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks, Fernando. You want to ask something, Fernando?
Nothing. It's been it's quite good. Quite a nice session that I attended.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? We can take one more question.
Or if they want to ask something later, we can take the questions.
Okay. Fine.
If we receive any question from our participants, and because due to a lack of time, if they can't participate.
Okay. Fine. No problem. Sugita, then we can conclude. We have got 3 minutes.
Of course. Yeah. I will be happy to forward all those questions to you, Mr. Shenoy.
Okay.
And it is excellent, really insightful, as well as thought-provoking and extremely relevant session, Mr. Shenoy. And I would like to request you that in near future, we would love to have the next session with you. And please, we need to know from you that what could be the next topic so that we can educate ourselves to face these trying times being well-proofed. So, of course, we are indebted to you. You are always outstanding, but at the same time, I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to our participants for their cooperation and their patience and extremely good participation. Interactive, being that session interactive one, it was the only objective to invite you so that our participants, they should understand what they want to learn. Our participants, our speaker, and along with that, I would like to extend my thanks to Team Bombay Chamber, Aparna Singh, Executive Research, as well as Bikram Negi, IT faculty of Bombay Chamber. They also worked hard, and without their patience or without their support, it was really difficult to have you or have all participants today. And also everyone, again, I would like to thank everyone, Mr. Shenoy, our esteemed participants, Team Bombay Chamber, and I thank you all and keep safe and stay well, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, a small announcement. I've got a YouTube channel. So anybody is interested in knowing more about information security and Sanskrit, just put my name. You will be able to get a lot of information on both. Thanks, everybody.
Or we can also forward that information also to our participants.
Okay.
You share with us.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.